Hello and welcome to Leica Review. Today we have a very important announcement from Leica, which is the Leica TL Mark II or TL2, which is the new release of their compact camera, which is the APS-C sensor. In the previous versions, in the T and the TL version, it was 16 megapixels. We have these incredible changes in the new camera, which is beautiful, and I want to talk about those things, and then hopefully we're going to do a review with the pictures and everything else in the next review. Now, first things first, I want to tell you about the improvements they have made, and I'm congratulate Leica on this. It has been a little overdue, but it is there. So let's talk about it. First things we have is the 24 megapixel sensor. As you may know, a lot of the camera companies have gone up to 24 megapixels for their APS-C sensor, and this is one thing that we've been expecting Leica to do, and it has been a long time that this has been expected, and we now have a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor camera. Beyond that, I've been talking over and over again that the 4K capabilities must be in there, and now we are seeing the 4K capabilities at 30 frames per second. That is a major improvement, and also the autofocus has improved. Now, I do not know if the optical stabilization for filming is going to be as efficient as other camera manufacturers, but I think what is beautiful about this is the 24 megapixels is going to give this camera a new life, a new opportunity to compete with other cameras in the market, especially when it comes to renditioning and color and all those aspects that make Leica cameras and Leica lenses so wonderful. And it is for this reason we are going to be able to pull a lot more out of this camera. And the 24 megapixels is going to rival what the Leica M produces in terms of image density and quality. In fact, when you do the multiplication and you do that 1.5 crop factor and apply it to the 24 megapixels, you're going to get what a 36 megapixel camera would be in a full frame size. So what we are seeing is a lot more density, a lot more vibrancy in terms of the ability to capture more details in the photographs. Now, Leica lenses, as you know, have been the market leaders in terms of quality and optics, and I'm going to see this lens lineup on the Leica TL to improve, because we have many beautiful lenses that were made in the past, and these lenses were somewhat do all kinds of lenses. We had these multiple focal lengths on these lenses, and it was just not as efficient, as beautiful in terms of gathering low light capabilities. So now we have these ultra prime kind of lenses that are very fast, very good, and what we're seeing is the 50 millimeter is going to be a very good lens to use, and we're also going to be seeing probably other lenses that are going to come up from the pipeline. We now have the 23 millimeter, which is a very compact one. In fact, I'll show you that one right here. This 23 millimeter one here is very compact on this camera, so it is a major advantage, and it is a very good lens. Now, it does cost a little bit more than the other cameras, but I think that this camera is going to be the market winner. It's going to make a big dent. Now, the price wise, it's going to be a little hefty, but you know, as Leica owners, Leica consumers, we know that it's going to cost a little bit more. But why? It's because it delivers quality, it delivers things that are not there before, which is the quality that you can buy the camera and use it for a long time. It doesn't have plasticky parts. The design hasn't changed. The design is beautiful. The same outlines, the same things that made this camera so beautiful when it first came out is still there. And what is beautiful about it is that you can still use this kind of camera and attain great images. A lot of people thought they had to go to Leica Q or other types of cameras to capture great images. And what I do like is the fact that you can get a 4K footage out of it, which is nice, but I do not know if you can arrange the settings and all the other things that will make the images more usable for videographers. And I know that Leica has been listening to some consumers and a lot of the people that want to use these kind of cameras, because technically speaking, it is an entry-level camera, and entry-level cameras are often designed to serve a certain segment of the market. And if the young people are buying it, they're going to want to do the vlog and the other things that are associated with using this type of camera. And I'm seeing that this camera is going to do wonderful. One of the things I do like about the Leica TL or the TL2 version is the fact that it has a large screen on the back, and I think that makes this camera a major player in the market for that reason. Now, of course, we are going to see a lot of people doing a lot of reviews and talking about this camera on the positive note. Of course, Leica has sent them the cameras. Of course, they need to write some good reviews and show good results from the cameras. But I think what bottom line is, in all honesty and all sincerity, is how does this camera compare to the other cameras in the market? And before, they were lagging way behind. And I talked in my previous videos about the Leica TL, and I said, you know what, they need to come up in terms of the number of resolutions. And we're seeing the 24 megapixels, and finally we have a good competitor to all the other cameras in the market, because what we are having is a lot of fierce competition, and the fierce competition dictates that you have to have a product that is competitive. It has to deliver performance. And I think that overall, design-wise, this is a wonderful camera because it's beautifully designed. It's got very ergonomic look, and it's a futuristic look, and it is minimalistic. So what needed was the internal components matching this beautiful design. And I would have wanted the 24 megapixel to come out a year ago, but today we have it. And this is at least in the step in the right direction. And for me, if I could go out and photograph with 24 megapixels, it's going to give me incredible amount of detail. Now, I use this camera extensively in a lot of my shoots. When I go into a space and I need to do photography or capture images so that I can do location shoots and all these other things, this is the camera I can take with me. I could take the photographs, know that it works. Now it's even better because I can take the 24 megapixels camera into various circumstances. It's going to give me great images. Now, as far as 16 megapixels, it has larger pixels, and that means that it has more light gathering capabilities. But I do know that 24 megapixels, even though it's more pixel dense, is a good trade-off, because it's going to give you a much more detailed image, and that's what we've been looking for. We want details in the image. We want to be able to see the beautiful rendition of colors and the gradation of tones, and that is only achieved by the combination of a good camera and a lens. Now, I know that the lenses on the Leica TL are expensive, and I know that a lot of people are hesitant to buy it, but I see it as an investment. If you are going to buy the 24 megapixel camera, it's going to last you a very long time. And images that you capture with it, you don't have to go to other cameras or buy a more expensive camera. 24 megapixels is going to serve you just fine. A lot of people said, you know, I would love to do some videos of my children or the places that I go, especially if I'm going on a trip. And that was a deterrent, because when I filmed with this, the HD quality was not up to the par that I wanted. And for that reason, I was a little hesitant about going ahead and looking into another camera that was coming out from the TL or TL series. And then I said, you know what? Maybe if they came out with 4K and the highlights were there, and we could control some of the aspects of the settings in terms of filming, it will give us a great advantage. Now, a lot remains to be seen, a lot remains to be done with the camera, which I will do extensive testing. Now, we are waiting to receive the camera in detail and looking at the images that I will be producing from the camera, and also comparing it to other cameras that are already in the market, because we know that there are a lot of APS-C size sensor cameras in the market, and they're going to be probably competing with the Leica. And we know that a lot of Leica users, they've been wanting to have a camera that was compact and good. And a lot of people just drifted off to using a Leica Q, which has been in the market for quite some time. Now, we do know that there is going to be another Leica Q that will be coming up the pipeline, the Leica Q2, which I think will have more megapixels in it, and it will have better performance compared to the older version. and that is again a step in the right direction, and that's what we've been looking for. Now, another thing that I mentioned, which is another video I did, is the new Noctilux series. The 75mm 1.25 is going to be probably coming out soon, and that is going to be another lineup of lenses that will be produced by Leica, and it will have a good market share. Now, it will be higher end, it will be more expensive than anything that Leica has produced, but Leica also knows that the market is fierce. They need to produce lenses that are going to outperform all other lenses in the market. And having a 1.25 75mm lens is going to set a new barrier for a lot of people to look into purchasing Leica lenses. Now, some of the things that we have had issues with was the fact that it was a manual focus lens. Now, 75mm handheld at 1.25, you're gonna need a tripod, but the ability is there to be able to capture images. Now, if you are using on the Leica SL and you have the one that is autofocus, it will give a great advantage to anyone who's using it. It is for this reason I've seen new innovative products coming out of Leica. A lot of people think that I do not like some of the Leica lenses or some Leica cameras. In fact, I do like just about all lenses. There are things that I find things that could be improved upon, and those are things that I highlight. I told a lot of times the Summilux is not the type of lenses that I love to see in Leica's lineup because they're overpriced and they don't deliver the performance that I would have wanted from a Leica lens. Again, if you are going to purchase a camera that's Leica, you probably want to use a Leica lens, so you're automatically drawn to the cheaper options. But what I would say to you is, if you're going to buy a camera, see it as an ecosystem. If you buy a Leica TL, know that you need to buy the Leica TL lenses. Why? Because the optical stabilization has to be there for you to be able to use the capabilities of the camera. And also, if you're filming, you want to have that optical stabilization that works with the lens that is native to the mount. A lot of people say, oh, well, I could use my Leica M lenses, and I have used my Leica M lenses with an adapter. But what I found overall is that it calls for a native lens. So it is something that you need to consider. So if you are considering to invest in a Leica Tl2, make sure that you have made the budget to purchase at least a 23mm f2, which is going to give you a lot of options. And your next purchase will be probably a 50mm, and that's going to cost you a lot of money. But at the end of the day, when you take those lenses and you put it in your bag, you can go travel anywhere and get great images. Now, the 50mm is not going to be small. It's going to be large, and it's going to look like a normal, like an M size camera setup. But the end of it all is you look at the camera, you look at the lens combination, and you're able to make a trade-off. Say, you know what, I want great images, I want to get great capture, great saturation, beautiful contrast, and this is the one that delivers it. For me, what I found beautiful about the Leica lenses is the fact that they render beautiful colors in terms of skin tones, and that is the reason why I love using them. I use them on my film cameras in various applications, and they deliver great results, more so than most of the other lenses that are out in the market. But when it comes to photography, you have to understand that there are two types of users. There are the amateurs and the professionals. Now, a lot of people will say it's an amateur grade camera. Technically, in the hands of an amateur, it may not do as good. Professionals, of course, know how to use the camera to their maximum abilities. And if you are able to push these cameras' capabilities to capture great images, why not? If it has autofocus, it's a positive thing. That's why Leica TL, has the potential to go further and further into becoming an item that has been produced for maybe decades and decades in the decades coming. And this is something that we want to have, continuity of a line of cameras that has started probably with the Leica T and continue to maybe Leica T5. And this is something you want to have, because when you invest in an ecosystem and you try to get out of that ecosystem, you may not find that there are a lot of options. Now, we know the Leica Tl2 is going to be in the market for at least 2 years before they come out with a new camera. But for me, that 2-year period with 24 megapixels is going to serve my needs, my intents. And if a new camera comes out, I don't see a reason why I wouldn't upgrade. But even if I didn't upgrade, 24 megapixels as a photography camera is brilliant, and it competes with the Leica Q. In fact, it will deliver better images than a Leica Q because of the pixel density that it has, which I told you comes out to be 36 megapixels in terms of a full frame size. Conclude this by saying that if you are in the market looking for an APS-C sensor size camera, TL2 looks like a good option, and it looks like it has all the features that we come to expect from a Leica camera. Of course, the camera needs to be tested. We have to look at the images and the renditions, but I'm sure that the quality that we have experienced in Leica TL and T versions will probably continue into the TL2. So without having to go into too much detail about it, it is a good buy. It is a good thing to purchase and use for a lengthy period of time. If you, for example, wanted to buy a camera and you want it easy to use with minimalistic design, this is a camera. It doesn't have 50 buttons on it. It has 2 thumb dials and a menu that you can navigate by just tapping on it, which is a touch screen. And I think it's wonderful. That's how all cameras should be made. And also the fact that it has Wi-Fi. You could take your images from your camera, transfer it to your computer, or send it to your iPhone, or share it with your friends. It's a beautiful thing. And I think Leica is finally catching up to the times, and I think this is the start of a good thing for all Leica users. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in our next review. Please do remember to visit our website at leicareview.com and leave any comments you have in the section below. I will answer them as best as I can. And I thank you for watching.